I waited eagerly for the movie Five Nights at Freddy's 2 throughout the entire year, partly because I knew I was going to love it, but also because I was certain it would provide answers about the game's lore. Because even though it takes place in a different continuity from the games, the same is true for the Silver Eyes, and yet those books also brought answers to the game lore, such as what Remnant is, or the names of William Afton, Henry and Charlotte. In any case, I think that some questions have been answered thanks to this new movie, and that is the subject of this video. Hi, Wolfie Bunny there. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to talk about the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's in general. With the release of the movies, a new door has opened, bringing with it new perspectives on the game's lore. The story we know has been built almost entirely on theories, even though some of them have come to be accepted as absolute truth, so it's time to dismantle these beliefs and open ourselves to new possible paths. I'll be discussing the DCI, Michael Afton, Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and other topics. Just a warning, there will be a lot of spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend leaving the video now and coming back later. For those who are staying, get comfy and let's get started. First of all, I'm going to do a short segment about the movie, to share what I thought of it. I walked out of the theatre feeling satisfied. The animatronics are awesome, and I was so happy to see Mangle on screen. Overall, everything was great. I was still surprised to see that they actually put Michael Afton in the movie. I think that says a lot about the game's lore, but for a movie I find it very strange that two characters share the same first name. They could have used Dave, or even Vincent. But that's just my opinion. I love the Easter eggs, especially Charlotte's lines, which are the same as in the game.
I don't hate you, but you need to stay out of my way.
The Freddy plush that sings also made me laugh a lot, and then seeing Circus Baby, that was awesome. Now that you know what I thought of the movie, I'm going to talk about the different aspects of the game's lore that I think may have received some answers thanks to it. In the games, the DCI, or Dead Children Incident, is a fan-assumed event suggesting that a second wave of child murders took place at Freddy's, either before or during the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. While many theorists believe this, it is mainly because of a minigame titled Save Them, which can sometimes trigger after being killed by an animatronic during gameplay. In this minigame, we play as Freddy and wander through the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pizzeria while following the puppet. Along the way, we encounter various animatronics, 5 dead bodies, and bloodstains, with a voice in the background spelling out the letters Save Them. Purple Guy can appear, which ends the minigame with a single phrase, "You can't." The DCI would be an ideal answer to why the toy animatronics or the withered animatronics seem haunted, just like those in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. However, some people believe that even if the DCI did occur, its victims do not haunt the animatronics. Instead, the animatronics would actually be haunted by the victims of the MCI, the Missing Children Incident, meaning the same children who haunt the animatronics in the first game. But in any case, the DCI did not happen in the movie. The answer to why the toys, the withered, and the other animatronics in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pizzeria are haunted is that they are currently being controlled by the puppet, who acts like a conductor. The puppet, or marionette, is actually haunted by Charlie Emily, Henry's daughter, and she is the one who has control over all the other animatronics in the pizzeria. This would suggest that the toys are not truly haunted in the strict sense of the word. So, would this reality make sense in the games as well? I think it would. The Save Them minigame could actually represent the MCI. I never really believed in the DCI, and now, with the movie, even less so. I therefore invite you to replay Five Nights at Freddy's 2 with the idea that the puppet is the only haunted animatronic, and that she controls all the others, and see if that works. One of the most important gameplay elements in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the need to wind up the puppet's music box to keep her asleep. This could be the reason why she tries to reach us by using the other animatronics. Moreover, we never knew which child could have haunted Balloon Boy. If the puppet is controlling him, it suddenly makes sense. And then there's Vanessa's line in the movie, Charlotte is the only ghost here, or something like that. It sounded so much like a direct answer from Scott to the fans. Of course, there are still a few points that go against this theory. First of all, both in the games and in the movie, it is stated that the toys were built using parts from the withered animatronics. Phone Guy tells us this himself.
By now I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room. Those are from the previous location, and we just use them for parts now. The idea some of the newer technology, but they were just so ugly, you know, and the smell. So the company decided to just go in a whole new direction and make them super kid-friendly.
Phone Guy says that the withered animatronics come from the previous location and that they smell. It is very likely that these are the animatronics William Afton used to hide the bodies of the MCI children, and that they're the true originals, knowing that remnant, or the soul/memory of the dead, clings to metal. It makes sense to think that if the withered animatronics are haunted, then the toys would be as well once they receive the withered's metal parts. So why give us this information if not to point us in that direction? If the puppet is the one controlling them all, why emphasize that the toys are made with parts taken from animatronics we already know are haunted? What do you think? Would it be possible that in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the toys and the withered are entirely controlled by the puppet and are not haunted themselves? Or could both be true? The children could be haunting the withered or the toys while being guided by the puppet at the same time. After all, Golden Freddy can appear in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, so the children's souls may still very much be present. Michael Afton is the subject of the movie that made me overthink the most. In the games, it is assumed that Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton are the same character. He would have changed his last name in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 either because of the accusations against his father after the MCI, or to stay under the radar with the employees and help his father recover animatronics parts haunted by Remnant. But regardless of the reason for changing his last name, it's still strange to keep the same first name if you're trying to pass as someone else. I thought that maybe he simply took his mother's last name. However, after watching the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I noticed that Mike is not William Afton's son, at least not in that continuity. It still made sense, since Vanessa was there to fill that role. But then I remembered that in the Silver Eyes trilogy, Michael is not William Afton's son either. In two continuities, Mike is not an Afton. The same goes for the tales from the Pizzaplex books. In the story Ditophobia, Rory is kidnapped as a child by the owner of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, presumably William Afton, and is subishing experiments that are similar to the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 4. If Rory is a parallel to the crying child in this story, this could indicate that the crying child is not William Afton's son either, just like Garrett in the movie. Like, what if Mike and the crying child were never Aftons in the games? All we really have are theories, and even if the family story we imagined is well structured, nothing actually proves that it's true. It's possible that Mike Schmidt, whom we play as in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and the Mike we play as in Sister Location are not the same character at all, just like in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. Could it be possible that, just like in the movie, Mike Schmidt and the crying child belong to a completely different family from the Aftons, and that William kidnapped the crying child and brought him into the test chambers we see in Sister Location and in the story Ditophobia? And I know this theory won't appeal to everyone, because it shakes a lot of beliefs we thought were true, but in the end, only Scott knows the real story, and all we have are theories. So we may need to rethink the game's timeline with the idea that two characters are called Mike. I wonder if it would work, but I think it's possible. Maybe we were simply wrong. In the games, the Funtime animatronics come from Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, formerly Circus Baby's Pizza World. We never knew the exact date of their creation, but it was assumed that they were built in the 1980s, despite their advanced technology. In the movie, Vanessa uses the dream theory that Mike used in the first film, which consists of forcing yourself to dream about a specific memory. In this dream, Vanessa finds herself in a house similar to the one in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. There is a staircase, indicating it is indeed a two-story house, as well as a long hallway with several doors, which directly brings to mind the plush trap minigame. William Afton is there as well, and he chases her into a workshop, where she finds Circus Baby. There are different versions of Vanessa from different timelines in this dream. First, she is herself, the 2002 Vanessa, then she becomes child Vanessa from the 1980s, and finally the Vanessa from the first movie in her police uniform. But what is interesting to note is that when she comes face to face with Circus Baby, she is a child. If this is truly a memory, then Vanessa had already seen Circus Baby in the 1980s, so I believe the Funtimes really were created during that decade. Also, the Circus Baby we see in the movie lights up and turns her eyes toward Vanessa when she looks at her. Could that mean she's already haunted? Why would a robot turn on by itself? Unless the memory is distorted by the dream state, and William had actually turned Circus Baby on in reality when Vanessa found her at that moment. I also noticed that the house in the movie resembles Edwin Murray's house in The Secret of the Mimic, 2 stories, a hallway with multiple doors, and of course a workshop in the attic. This could confirm that the Afton family really lived in the Murray house, or that William used it to condition his children through experiments similar to those in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. After all, in Help Wanted, the fun times are directly linked to Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Circus Baby searches for us in the bedroom, while Funtime Freddy and Bonbon chase us through the hallways. In my opinion, Michael Afton in the games was conditioned in this way, and so were both Vanessa and Michael in the movie. Another detail, to access this memory through her dreams. Vanessa uses objects taken from a box that looks very similar to the one from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. In the games, the box was never opened, and its contents remain a mystery. But in the movies, it seems to contain objects belonging to the children killed by William Afton, perhaps trophies, or items he gave to Vanessa, like Garrett's airplane that we see in the photo of Vanessa as a child. Could this also be the case in the games? We all notice that the crying child owns the same toys as David Murray, as seen in The Secret of the Mimic. With the elements from the movie, we could think that William was the one who killed David Murray and then gave those toys to his own son, the crying child, if he really is his son, that is. In any case, I think the third movie will tell us more about the story of the Aftons and the fun times. So, to conclude, that was a hard video to make, because all these informations given by the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie are still fresh and new, and not even from the same continuity than the games. I'll probably make videos about Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton because I feel like there's more to say about them, and also another video about the DCI. So what do you think? I'm very curious to know if you're ready to open your mind about new possibilities concerning the law. That maybe we were wrong. Sometimes, we just complicate things, while Scott's answers are so simple. Take Withered Foxy, for example. The answer of why he can see through our mask is just because his facial recognition is broken. There wasn't any complicated things about it. Feel free to give me your opinion in the comments. I can't wait to read you. I answer to every comment I have. I'm here because I wanted to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's after all. If you enjoyed the video, please support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing. You can also follow me on Instagram for more content. The link will be on the description. Thank you for watching my video. I wish you a happy new year, and I see you next month for more theories. Wolfie Bunny out.